Hi guys, welcome back to the Drone Files. In this review I am going to show you the ISDT Q6 Lite balance charger, which is the most basic charger in the ISDT range. It is a charger that costs about $50 to $60 shipped depending on where you buy it from. The sample unit here was provided by GearBest, so be sure to check them out for more great deals like this. The Q6 Lite comes in this nice box here, which includes a bunch of stickers, user manual, and that's it. Just the charger and some stickers and the user manual. Now the Q6 Lite belongs to the range of Q6 chargers by ISDT, which has three models: the Q6 Plus, Q6 Pro, and also the Q6 Lite. So the difference between the Q6 Lite and the other two models are that the Pro and the Plus have 300 watts of maximum charging power, while the Q6 Lite has only 200. Besides the maximum charging power, there are other minor differences, such as the casing color. The Q6 Lite is available only in this color, while the other models have, I believe, more than one. And there are a few other details that set them apart. One thing I really like about the Q6 Lite and all the other ISDT chargers is that they look really aesthetically pleasing. Just a few years ago, most balance chargers tend to have this crude look in them. Here I have the B6 charger, which, as you can see, is really a big different, very different from the latest generation of balance chargers. These really look sleek and very pleasing to look at. The first thing that struck me when I first unboxed the Q6 Lite, besides its looks, is that it looks very well built. It feels very well built. There's only one scroll wheel here, which also functions as a button. It has nice tactile feel and has a nice click when you press it. And overall, it has very good build quality, and for a $60 product, it's actually not bad. So let me give you a tour of the Q6 Lite. Over here is the input port, which is capable of taking up to 32 volts direct current. The minimum is 7 volts. And over here is the output port, XT60 connector here. It can take up to 6S batteries, LiPo batteries. It can take 16S nickel metal hydride batteries or cadmium batteries, and it can also charge car batteries, I believe, up to 12 cells. It's also very lightweight. It weighs only 119 grams and a very compact size. As you can see here, it's about the size of a cigarette box. The color display here is 2.4 inches IPS. It's not touchscreen because everything is controlled by the scroll wheel. It's a color touchscreen. Oh, sorry, it's a color display, and it has very nice contrast, color saturation, and viewing angles. The Q6 Lite has a maximum discharge power of 5 watts, which is a little bit lower than the other two models, the Plus and Pro. Oh, I forgot to mention that over here is the balance port. As you can see here, the negative symbol here means your black or ground wire should be on the first pin. And over here is a 3.5mm jack, which is used for firmware updates. So it's a great thing. You can actually update this thing via the firmware via this jack. And also over here you have the built-in fan, which does a decent job in cooling down the unit. There is also a heatsink inside. When you're charging or discharging a battery, it does get a bit warm, although not very warm. It's probably about 40 degrees Celsius plus, somewhere in that range. The one thing that I don't like about the Q6 is that it does not come with the necessary connectors for you to use it. So for example, over here you have the XT60 port. It doesn't come with its own connectors. I believe the Plus and Pro does come with connectors, but the Q6 Lite doesn't come with its own connectors. So you have to purchase your own connectors separately and solder them to the wires before you can use the Q6. So let's just power this up, and let me show you what the display looks like. You can power this unit using a LiPo battery. over here I have a 12-volt battery, or you can power it by using your wall socket. And for that method, you'll need to have your own DC adapter, 12-volt preferably, or maybe 24 volts. You need to create your own XT60 connector for your adapter before you can plug it in. So one thing really good about the Q6 Lite is that you can use it indoors as a charger, or you can bring it out in the field and use it as a portable charger when you're out flying. And you can always use a bigger battery or your car battery to charge smaller batteries, such as this. So now I'm going to plug the Q6 Lite onto using a LiPo battery. It does beep. There are audio cues that tell you when it's charging or when there's an error. As you can see here, the display screen is pretty nice, very nice quality for the IPS display. I would say this is as good as any smartphone, any mid-range smartphone display. The viewing angles are also quite good. And very nice resolution, sharp display. So as I mentioned earlier, you control the Q6 Lite using this single scroll wheel here, which also acts as a button. So when you press it once, it will go into the main menu, and you can have all the options here. Just scroll up and down. So you can charge, discharge, or you can set the battery for storage. You can select the battery types. So over here is the range of batteries that it supports. You can set the battery voltage, cell count, the current that you use for charging. Most of the time I'm using 2 amps. Although the Q6 Lite is capable of going all the way up to 8 amps. And the Q6 Pro and Plus have higher maximum charging current. Although I believe most people will be using probably 2 amps, roughly 2 amps. You don't want to charge your battery with too high a current, because that will just shorten the lifespan of the battery, unless you absolutely have to because you're short of time. So yeah, it's a pretty easy to use menu. You don't really need to read the user manual for. It's a pretty easy to use menu system. You don't really have to refer to the user manual because it's so easy to figure out how to use it. What happens when you plug in a battery to the balance? It will show you the voltage for each cell. So right now I'm plugging in this battery, and the black wire or the ground wire should be on this side, left side. And right now it's showing the battery, the voltage for the 2 cells in there. To charge it, you need to plug in you need to create your own connector. Over here I have a JST. Oops, over here I have a JST connector to an XT60. So once you plug in the charging plug, you can press start. So right now I'm charging the 2S battery. And as you can see here, it tells you the charging current, which is 2 amps, and how much charge has gone in. And also what's really good about this is it also shows you the percentage. As you can see here, it's 70%, which means 70% done. And over here is the individual voltage for each cell. And over here is the elapsed time. So yeah, pretty easy to operate charger. I really like this Q6 Lite. Although the only flaw that I can see here is that they don't provide you with the connectors. You have to buy your own connectors and solder them yourself. Another good feature of the Q6 Lite is that the fan has a variable speed control, which means once it gets hot, the fan will turn on, and it will spin according to how hot it is. So if it's very hot, then it will spin at its maximum. While if it's not so hot, slightly warm, it will spin at a slower speed, and the processor will control this fan speed, and it will vary the speed accordingly, according to the temperature that it senses inside. Another weakness that I forgot to mention earlier is that the screen here is I believe very vulnerable to scratches. As you can see, it's very glossy and it's quite vulnerable to scratches. So if you're going to store the Q6 Lite along with other hard objects in a bag, I would advise getting a soft pouch for this thing, because it doesn't come with a screen protector, and the surface is pretty vulnerable. So some of you might be wondering which charger you should get, whether you should get the Q6 Plus or the Pro. Well, my opinion is that the Q6 Lite is actually not bad a charger for most users. It can go up to a maximum of 8 amps maximum current charge, which is actually more than enough for most people. So that wraps up my review of the ISDT Q6 Lite. I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more future videos like this. And if you've enjoyed watching this video, please hit the like button. So till the next video, I'll see you again. Goodbye.